We're a month and a half into the NFL season, and it is looking more and more like 2016 or 2007 as the weeks go on. But welcome on in for week 7 of Power Rankings. Before we dive right into it, I want to quickly say if you're new, subscribe, would be greatly appreciated. Leave a like, let me know your thoughts down below. Now let's jump right into it. The first honorable mention is the Carolina Panthers, and it's about time that the Panthers are playing at a high level. This is kind of the Panthers team I was expecting last year to see and to see kind of earlier on in this season. All it took was Rico Dowdle coming to town, and he's been having a fantastic past 2 weeks. This offense is playing at that high level because of it. And yes, his two great performances are against a Miami run defense that is the worst in the league, and a Dallas Cowboys defense that is just all around the worst in the league. So, definitely a grain of salt there. But he's definitely solidified himself to get more touches when Chuba Hubbard comes back. And the defense did struggle a bit, but the Cowboys do have the top offense in the league, so there is that. But all around, a really solid showing, a really nice win for the Carolina Panthers, and they have to be feeling really, really good winning 3 of their last 4. They are an honorable mention. Next honorable mention is the Pittsburgh Steelers, and through 6 weeks, they have surprised me this season, and they're sitting on top of the AFC North, something I was not really expecting by this point. But all the other teams in that division have been pretty bad this year. Rodgers has seemingly found new life in the Steel City. Part of it, I do think, is because he has a lot more respect for Mike Tomlin than he ever did Robert Saleh. So that's definitely playing a big factor into it. And they've built an offense that can complement that defense pretty well. 235 yards and 2 touchdowns through the air in this one, 100 yards on the ground as a team. Very solid showing for the offense. Pair that with a defense that throughout the entire season has been playing really well. And in this one, they did a really good job against that Browns offense, but it is also the Browns. I was tempted to put them into the top 10, but they're on the outside looking in for at least one more week. I do still like the Steelers. They're an honorable mention. The final honorable mention is the Los Angeles Rams. I was tempted to find a way to put them into the top 10, but that performance against a really bad Ravens team is going to keep them out for at least one more week. Stafford struggled in this one, only 181 yards on the day. He did connect with Tyler Higbee for a touchdown, so there is that. Kyren Williams and Blake Corum ran fine enough, 73 combined yards on 18 combined carries. Puka Nacua did go down in this one. That's something to keep an eye on. But still, a pretty mediocre offensive showing for this Rams team. The defense, though, did play really, really well. But that was to be expected going against a Cooper Rush led Ravens team. They gave up 122 yards for Derrick Henry, which, grain of salt, Derrick Henry is the main offensive weapon for the Ravens while Lamar Jackson is out. So they're going to use him a lot. So he's bound to have a good game here and there. Still a nice bounce back win for the Rams after that tough loss the week prior. And all around was expecting a better performance, but one that's still good enough for them to be an honorable mention. Number 10 is the Washington Commanders, and that was a tight loss for them on Monday Night Football. They had a great opportunity to take a hold in that division, came up just short, but Jaden Daniels still played pretty well in this one despite the loss. 211 yards and 3 touchdowns through the air. He also had 52 yards on the ground to pair with Bill Krotsky Merritt having 61 yards on the day, and the team as a whole 124 yards on the ground. So a fine offensive showing that in a different matchup probably would be enough for the win, but the defense struggled a little bit. I still think they played fine all around. 252 yards through the air for Chicago. DeAndre Swift was a menace in this one, 108 yards on the day for him. So that Commanders defense that we've known from this season so far, a little bit struggling here and there against both sides, but again, they played fine in this one. Still think the Commanders are going to be fine going forward. We've seen in the past 2 weeks more so just wanted them finding their groove again after Jaden Daniels missed 2 weeks in this season. So I think in the next coming weeks, they're gonna find their style and find their groove again that they had early on in the season, and they're gonna be just fine. They come in at number 10. Number 9 is the New England Patriots, and for as much I'm gonna hate saying this, entering week 7 and through the first month and a half of the season, the New England Patriots are in first place of the AFC East, and the entire AFC is seemingly back to 2016. Drake May played really well in this game, 261 yards and 3 touchdowns through the air. He was also the lead-in rusher for the Patriots at 28 yards. Travion Henderson at 27, Ramondre Stevenson at 18. So a pretty slow day on the ground, but it did not really matter. Part of it because of the defense. They played really well against a Saints offense that you're expecting the defense to look good against the Saints. So there is that. Held the Saints ground game to 73 yards. Alvin Kamara had 31 of those. Against the pass, though, they gave up 227 yards, no touchdowns, but 20 for 26 completion to Spencer Rattler. So a little bit of a struggle there, but again, they still played just fine. Held the Saints to only 3 points in the second half, which shut down the game. And I was expecting the Patriots to take another year or two before hitting this stride that they're on. No, they have firmly arrived and are firmly back. And as a Dolphins fan, I hate saying that, but they come in at number 9. Number 8 is the Philadelphia Eagles. And that was an incredibly disappointing game for Philly. And it showcased the issues with this team that they even faced a little bit throughout the season, even into parts of last year. The offense is way too talented for him to be playing at a level like this. I want to dive deeper into it. I might end up making a video by the end of this week from when this is being uploaded. If so, that'll be up. If not, maybe there'll be something for the offseason. But I do want to dive into the issues with this Eagles offense to a lot more detail than what I have time for here in Power Rankings. But it should not be a bottom 5 unit in multiple different categories. That's the bottom line with how much talent they have. The defense can only do so much while the offense is struggling the way it is. The defense is still playing well. It was still that Philly defense that we know, but they sit at 4-2, and it doesn't feel like they should be 4-2 with how they've been playing this season, because they've gotten lucky a few times, and that's going to happen throughout the course of a 17-game NFL season. So they're still going to be in the top 10 at number 8, but I'm not feeling great about Philly's chances to repeat. Number 7 is the Seattle Seahawks, and that was a very nice bounce back win over another very quality team in the Jacksonville Jaguars. Sam Darnold had nearly 300 yards on the day and 2 touchdowns, including a deep shot to JSN. And JSN has been having an incredible season. He might be my favorite for Offensive Player of the Year at this current moment. He has surpassed any expectations I had for him on the season. I thought there's going to be a little bit of a struggle, and a little bit of a having to get accustomed to being the receiver one there, but he has hit the ground running. He's playing incredibly well, and is a big reason why the Seahawks are the quality of team that they are in this season. The defense also played pretty well in this one. They shut down Jacksonville through the middle quarters of this game. Only 59 yards was given up on the ground by the Seattle defense, and they sacked Trevor Lawrence 7 times in this game. A really great performance that kind of built off of some of the great things they did against Tampa, and they even improved in other aspects that they lacked against Tampa. So it was a great way to bounce back, a great way to adjust from what happened against Tampa. And it's another good win against another top tier team. So they're playing really well this season. They come in at number 7. Number 6 is the Buffalo Bills, and they have one very clear issue with this team this year, and it's their defense. Specifically, it's the run defense. Now, in the passing game wise, Penix had 250 yards and a touchdown through the air. Drake London was the main target. He had double the amount of targets as the next highest guy, which is Bijan Robinson with 8. And he was the only receiver with a target outside of KC Washington. So definitely should have been able to guard Drake London. You put 2, you put 3 on him. He was the main passing target, and he still had a fantastic game. And then the run defense exists. And they have Bijan Robinson putting up 170 yards against them. And the 81-yard touchdown was a very rough play to give up. Tyler Algier had 32 yards and a touchdown on this one as well. Just all around, the defense has been rough against the ground this season. On top of that, Josh Allen looked really rough in this game. It was a great opening drive, but the rest of the day, he was 13 for 24 outside of that opening drive, and 180 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, with one of them being a forced pass over the middle to Khalil Shakir, which looked eerily similar to the one against the Patriots the week prior. And all around, very rough game. James Cook, maybe the one bright spot, 87 yards on the day, but besides that, not a whole lot. Buffalo is supposed to seize the opportunity that is the openness of the AFC this year, and they are now a wild card team having to go on the road if the playoffs started this week. So a very rough turn of events, but the Bills are still the Bills. I trust they can get things figured out. They're at number 6. Number 5 is the Los Angeles Chargers, and the ground game did not miss a single beat in this one, despite all the injuries they have to that running back room. But it also was against Miami's ground defense, which is the worst ground defense in the league. So that is definitely something. And even then, Herbert threw the ball well, 264 yards and 2 touchdowns. Ladd McConkey had 100 yards on the day, including that very clutch play at the end of the game that got them into game-winning field goal range. The defense played pretty well. They picked off 2 or 3 times, and yeah, one of them was final play of the game, kind of a nothing thing situation there. And the other one was the first pass attempt of the game that bounced off of Jalen Waddle's chest. But still, it is 3 interceptions. That is 3 drives that you took away from Miami, and that's gonna be a big reason why you win any single game. The majority of Miami's pass catchers were kept in check as well, and it's a great way to bounce back after back-to-back pretty tough losses for the Chargers. And they do have some injuries to deal with still, but they're back in the win column and they're feeling good. I do still think the Chargers are a fine team, and they come in at number 5. Number 4 is the Indianapolis Colts, and they continue to stack wins on the season, but this was definitely a confusing win nonetheless. On one hand, the offense is continuing to play really well with Daniel Jones leading the way. He had 212 yards and 2 touchdowns in this one. Jonathan Taylor was running well, 123 yards and a touchdown on the day. And all around, this Colts offense is playing a lot better than people expected this season. When the announcement came that Daniel Jones was going to be the starter, pretty much everyone, including Colts fans, including myself, were saying how bad of an idea this was, and you got to go with Anthony Richardson. And the Colts are making everyone pay for thinking that way. But in this one, the defense did struggle against a Kyle Murray-less Cardinals team. Jacoby Brissett was having himself an incredible day. 220 yards and 2 touchdowns on this one. And the Colts, they did play the ground pretty well, but still a defensive showing that raises some concerns at the end of the day. But the offense playing as well as it is, I think they have enough time to get this defense figured out at this point in the season. So they're going to come in at number 4. Number 3 is the Detroit Lions, and that was a pretty disappointing showing at the end of the day for the Lions. The opening drive was near perfection. They were playing really well on it. They had that illegal motion play on the 4th down, the 4th and goal, which sucked, but still it was a good drive. And then the rest of the game, the offense started to slow down. Jared Goff had just over 200 yards passing in this one. Jahmyr Gibbs was the main back and played fine, but there isn't a world where David Montgomery should only have 4 carries in a game, considering how important that running back duo is to that offense. The defense struggled to get themselves going in large part due to the injuries entering the game and the ones sustained during the game in that secondary. That's gonna be a massive thing to keep an eye on for Detroit, is can they get things figured out in that secondary? It's going to take at least another week, as Brian Branch is being suspended for a game due to the extracurriculars afterwards. He is appealing the suspension, but I'm pretty confident in saying that it's going to hold up, because not only did he punch Juju Smith-Schuster, he ended up getting involved with a Chiefs security staff member, which is never allowed in the NFL. So it's definitely going to hurt them for at least 1 week. And people want to talk about the penalty disparities in this game, but the Lions only had 4 penalties against them, and yes, 2 were for Chiefs first downs. But still, a 4-0 penalty disparity, it's not enough to fully decide the game. So the Lions just played bad in this, and they're coming in at number 3. Number 2 is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and it's close. It's really, really close for me to say that the Buccaneers are my favorite team to watch in the NFL this season. They're a very near second. I'm still really enjoying watching Lions football, but the Buccaneers are up there as one of the best teams to watch. And starting with the defense in this one, they did give up a lot. Bend don't break style. Mac Jones had 347 yards through the air. They did pick him off twice, including what should have been a pick 6, but that Tampa secondary member thought he was playing for the Tampa Bay Lightning and left his skates on during the return process. They played the ground game well. CMC only having about 54 yards on the day. And then the offense, Baker Mayfield threw incredibly well once again, 256 yards and 2 touchdowns on the day. MVP chants were filling up Raymond James Stadium, and I fully understand why. Baker Mayfield has been a fantastic quarterback this season, and one of the best quarterbacks to watch this year. Bucky Irvin was missed on the ground, but they still ran well enough. And Mike Evans is expected to be back soon, which is a scary thought for the rest of the league, because Baker Mayfield has been playing really well with pretty much the second team receiving core and Emeka Egbuka, but Egbuka did leave that game early with an injury. So Baker Mayfield has just been cooking people with second team offense, basically, and the Buccaneers are coming in at number 2 because of it. Number 1 is the Green Bay Packers. Not the greatest of performances against a Cincy team that has really struggled this season, but there's still enough to take away from that game for the Packers to where I'm fine putting them at number 1. The defense played well. They shut out Cincy through the entire first half. They held the ground game to 55 yards on the day. And they played fine. I think they played fine against Joe Flacco, considering he threw for 40. He threw 45 times in this one. And it was only for like just over 200 yards. So I do still think the Packers defense as a whole played fine. As did Jordan Love, 259 yards on the day and a touchdown. He did have the interception early on in this one, but he bounced back from it really well. And then Josh Jacobs had another great performance in this one. 93 yards and 2 touchdowns on 18 carries to pair with 57 yards receiving. All around, they outperformed Cincy in pretty much every major category that you want to outperform a team in. So it was still a dominant showing for the Packers, even though the box score did have it as a 9-point game to end things out. But still, a really good showing, and the Packers are coming in at the top team in these power rankings. Well, there you have it. Quick little rundown. The Washington Commanders are at 10, the New England Patriots are at 9, Philadelphia Eagles at 8, Seattle Seahawks at 7, Buffalo Bills at 6, Los Angeles Chargers at 5, Indianapolis Colts at 4, Detroit Lions at 3, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are at 2, and the Green Bay Packers round things out at number 1. Thank you all for tuning in. It's greatly appreciated. I will see you all next time. Have yourselves a damn good one. Peace.